The women of The View have done it again. It's almost like they want to get canceled. Um, what have they done now? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. I'd like to ask you for a favor before we jump right in. If you would please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That really does help us grow the channel and get the message out. And go over to youtube.com/@the MAGA message and check out our other videos. Now, what did the ladies of The View do now? Well, their heads exploded. That seems to be a daily occurrence. But what happened was President Trump kept a promise. President Trump promised in his speech, his inaugural speech, to eliminate DEI in the federal government and for us to become a meritocracy, a society of merit. To that end, he went over to the Oval Office and signed an executive order, among many, which eliminated DEI in every government agency. As a matter of fact, they are to eliminate the positions today. And the closing of the shops, so to speak, and those employees who are DEI employees are on paid leave. So the ladies of The View went nuts over this executive order. I'm telling you, he could award everybody in America 10 pounds of gold and the ladies of The View would go crazy. And it went so far in their stupidity. Sunny Hostin, again, she wants to get, apparently she just loves being sued. Sunny Hostin says that President Trump wasn't elected because of merit. Well, what, did somebody just give him the position? She says he didn't have any business experience, if you can believe that. What? No business experience? Yeah, he was given everything. His father gave him everything, which is absolutely not true. His father gave him $1 million to start his business. And he is a multi-billionaire now. And he built those businesses himself with the help of a lot of other people, obviously. What in the world? And then, of course, Al Sharpton's going crazy today about DEI. I'm going to agree with Sunny Hostin on one thing. DEI means didn't earn it. And that just changed with the stroke of the president's pen. Now, you will earn it. It will be merit. And I can't wait for the day that he does away with merit, quote, employees, and that everyone in the federal government is an at-will employee. You know, I worked in state government, and I was appointed by the 16 members of leadership of the legislature. So every morning when I got up, I had to be able to count to 9 who supported me. Otherwise, I was gone. And I told one of the senators when I was interviewing, I said, look, I come out of the education world, but I'm not a fan of tenure. I don't believe in tenure. I believe it protects the wrong people. Maybe it was necessary at one time, but not today. And he didn't understand. I said, look, Senator, I'll make you a deal. If I do my job, you leave me alone. If I don't do my job, fire me. And that's as it should be. And that's what we need in our federal government. We don't need employees burrowing down and then fighting the agenda of the opposite party. So I'm hopeful, and I am really encouraged by the start to President Trump's administration. Take a look at the video clip that I put together, and please share your thoughts in the comments.
As President Trump shaking things up, speaking of shaking up, the world of woke, parts of, as he calls it, a revolution of common sense. He's rolling back DEI policies for federal workers, says the government will recognize 2 genders. That is just some of his plans that he's announced so far. Let's bring in columnist David Marcus. He's got more. So, David, what do we know are his plans so far to roll back woke?
Oh, look, I think you said it. It's common sense. And I think both in terms of DEI and the trans issue, these issues have been bubbling up aggressively for at least 5 or 6 years. I go back to during COVID when my son was doing remote learning. And he was the only white kid in his class in Brooklyn. The rest of the kids were either Middle Eastern or Chinese. There were no black kids. And we could hear his mom and I, we could hear his teachers talking about how white people learn how to be racist at home. And it was like, what is going on? And tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of American parents got a window into what our kids were being taught in school about race and about gender and about all of these things. And they got pretty fed up. So I'm not surprised that we arrived at this point.
All right, so this is a part of President Trump's inauguration speech on ending DEI and defining gender. Let's watch.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female.
You know, I think there was a lot of Americans who heard that and thought, like, it's amazing we've reached a point where we have to say that.
It truly is. I mean, we have a sitting Supreme Court justice who refused to say that very thing on the grounds that she's not a biologist. It was always madness. But it's good that Trump is taking such a strong tack on this. For a very long time, I think conservatives thought there was some accommodation that could be made, at least as far as adults were concerned. And, you know, we could deal with sort of prisons and shelters and still let people pretend to be a gender that they're not. I think Trump drew a line in the sand there and said, no, this is actually make-believe, and the government's not going to play pretend anymore.
Yeah, the ladies of The View are taking a shot at Trump. I guess they're claiming he is the DEI hire. Listen here.
Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy. You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He hasn't he had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire.
I'm sure there's a lot of folks having a strong reaction to that. I'll let you react to that in just a moment. But I also want to include your recent FoxNews.com op-ed headline. And here's your quote in it. As Trump takes office, the forgotten American demands to be heard. With all the criticism over the billionaires he has around him, the tech moguls and beyond, you write this. Trump is not resuming residence at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue because billionaires wanted it. Elon Musk and the Silicon Valley socialites didn't make this happen. Trump won because Americans with thankless jobs like nurses, cops, plumbers, bus drivers, and waitresses made it so. I know this because I spent the entire election traveling the country talking to them. Your thoughts and your reaction.
Yeah, look, I think that those people that I was talking about are going to be very happy with what they saw yesterday because their main concerns were the economy, the border, and these culture issues. And Donald Trump addressed all 3 of them head on. As to The View and the idea that Trump isn't president based on merit, Trump won the majority of votes in the presidential election. That's merit. I'm sorry. That's the only way you can become president, and he did it twice. So.
It was an interesting statement to which you were directly responding to. And by the way, it's a good time always to stop and thank your nurses, your cops, your plumbers, your bus drivers, and your waitresses. A good reminder in your note there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.